I am going through the process of hardening off these lovely cool flowers. These are hardy annuals that are going to be planted outside early. I am not waiting until my last frost day is here, which is April 25th, to plant these guys. These are going to be planted close to the middle of March. Right now is day 3 of hardening off. These guys are ready. They are very ready. But I wanted to make this video really quick and talk about a few things that I have noticed from my own experience growing seedlings. This will be my year 7 of going into seed starting, and I have made plenty of mistakes, believe me, plenty of mistakes. And I want to share those with you so that maybe if you're just starting out or if you are going through some of these right now, they can help you in understanding how to help these seedlings, how to help them grow bigger and healthier. It's a little bit windy right now and the sun keeps coming in and out. This video is going to be all over the place with the lighting, but air movement matters even more than people think. When you're growing your seeds indoors, they are in a nice control temperature control conditions. There is no wind unless you have your windows open all the time, which I doubt that most people do in the winter time. If you think about it, the moment that you take these guys outside, they're going to be exposed to the wind, to the sunshine, and all of that. And if you have not somehow introduced movement and wind to these seedlings, they're really going to struggle. I currently have about 3 of these small fans that I move here and there through my grow room. I place them in different positions. I like that they oscillate, and I also have them on timers. I get a bunch of those inexpensive timers, and I set them up to not be on 100% of the time, but here and there, half an hour here, half an hour there throughout the day. It's really helpful for these seedlings to get that exposure to movement. Not only it helps the stems of the seedlings to grow stronger, but it also prevents fungal issues like dumping off. Air movement is kind of like leg day, but for plants. Now, bright lights are not the same as close light. Just because you have some very strong grow lights, top of the line lights, whatever you're using, it's not about how bright those lights are, but it's about the distance that they are from your seedlings. Now, most shop lights, like the ones that I use, LED shop lights, should be about 2 to 3 inches above the seedlings, not really farther than that. In my experience for the last 7 years growing seeds indoors, this is the perfect distance for my shop lights to be away from the top of my seedlings. Now, depending on what type of light you're using, LED, grow light, shop light, wherever that is, you really have to find that sweet spot. Check the information on that light that you have to see how far they should be placed from your seedlings. Most of the times when I see people complaining about leggy plants, it's not really because their light isn't strong enough. It's because of how far away those lights are from their seedlings. The sun keeps coming in and out, and these guys have not really been exposed directly to that sunshine. So what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be using these frost blankets, and what I'm going to be doing today here for the next few hours is just covering these seedlings just so that the sunlight gets blocked by just enough so that they don't get completely burned. Another thing that I have found is that if I give my seedlings a little bit of stress indoors, they actually will grow just a little bit better. If I provide them with the perfect conditions, it could really make for weak plants. And I'm talking about simple things like letting the soil dry between waterings or gently brushing my hand across the seedlings just to, give them a little bit of a hard time. Getting the temperature a little bit lower during the night to mimic the outside. Giving them a little bit of a taste of what's coming when they completely go outside. It will help to make the transition a lot easier. Now, one of the things that I see a lot of people struggling with is overwatering. And I have found that overwatering is often a timing problem, not a volume one. Let me repeat that again. It's not that you add too much water, it's that you're doing it constantly. Seedlings like a wet, dry cycle, not constant moisture. It will be like washing your hair twice a day. Unnecessary and a little bit stressful. When I transition my seedlings from the inside to the outside, it takes me a few days. I don't try to be adventurous during this time. I spend a lot of time keeping an eye on the weather, keeping an eye on the day. Hour by hour, I am constantly keeping an eye on them, seeing how they act. Shade is my friend during these days. Cloudy days are also welcome, and I am so glad that I have this rail here because it provides just a little bit of sun, but mostly shade. Bigger cells or baking containers aren't always better. And believe me, I made this mistake plenty of times. I will have a tiny seedling with barely the first leaves coming up, and I will instantly pot it in a huge container, thinking that that was something that I needed to do. The bigger the container, the better for the plant. But that's not always the case. I have found out that when I get my seedlings that are growing in small containers into slightly bigger containers, they do a lot better versus giving them a huge space. The roots reach the edges, the wall of the containers a lot faster, and they start branching more. But not only that, if you keep your pots on a smaller side, you have a lot more room to grow more flowers or more vegetables. If you think about this, if you have tiny seedlings, it will be like giving a toddler a king-size bed. These Brussels sprouts are growing insane. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Fertilizer. That's the $1,000,000 question. I personally don't fertilize my seedlings indoors. I did before when I was using seed starting medium years ago. I am using 100% potting mix, and this potting mix that I'm using already has plenty of nutrients. It is a compost base, so it has literally everything that my seedlings need. So adding fertilizer is just not needed. Now, if you are growing your seedlings on a coconut coir base and it has no nutrients at all, then adding a little bit of fertilizer, it's always a good idea. But you have to be careful because adding too much fertilizer at once can actually harm your seedlings. Reducing the amount of fertilizer that is recommended by the company by a quarter of the amount is always a good thing to start. Personally, I prefer to use a potting mix because I don't have to do the fertilizing every week or every 2 weeks indoors. It's a beautiful day outside. It's about 60 degrees at 9 a.m. right now, and my neighbors are already outside. I can hear them. I am going to get ready to prune some of my roses, but I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a like, maybe share it with a friend, and I will see you in the next time.